Hi, I'm Steve and you're watching Car Simplified. Today I'm going to go a little bit off topic and talk about some of the gear that I use to make the show. So if you're just starting out, you can make an automotive show similar to mine. With this, I'm going to work under the assumption that you're serious about making a new channel. You want to put some money into it, but not dump your entire savings into it. So I'm going to talk about what you definitely need, but also some stuff that is optional, but will definitely give you a lot of bang for your buck as far as quality is concerned. The two most expensive parts are going to be your camera and your editing software. You can get things that record in 1080p fairly cheap nowadays. You may want to consider not going the absolute cheapest though, because when you pay for a little bit more, you often get expansion possibilities. Like with a DSLR, like I'm talking into now, it's got a port where I can plug this microphone in, and there's also a hot shoe attachment at the top where you can attach a shotgun microphone. I don't use one of those yet. I'd like to get one, but the good ones are a little costly. For at least season one, at least a year, I used a flip open camera that had minimalist settings. It was basically just pop it open, press the record button. If you don't know anything about filming, that's a good place to start. Find one that's got a good autofocus, because autofocus is going to be something that makes or breaks your shot if you're trying to just shoot and go. The downside to autofocus is that a lot of the cameras are constantly trying to figure out what it needs to focus on. Then you'd see me get blurry and then not blurry all the time. That's the camera trying to figure out where I am and if I'm moving back and forth. It also may try to focus on the green screen behind me. You might even already have the camera you need right there on your phone, because some cell phones actually have pretty decent recording cameras too. Aaron from 802 Garage has actually built a very successful channel using exclusively his phone for recording. A lot of computers come with free editing software right off the bat, so you may have editing software on hand. I've just found that it just isn't as powerful as the programs that are specifically made to be editing software. Plus, I've got about 10 years experience using Sony editing software, so I tend to stick with that. So if you've got a camera and editing software, you're really ahead of the game right off the bat right there. I'm sure you're familiar with how videos are on YouTube, where a lot of times it's just someone pulling out their camera. Wait, no. Someone pulling out their camera, and whatever gets filmed from start to finish in that one clip is uploaded. There's nothing wrong with that sometimes, but you can cut out a lot of the nothing happening to save people a lot of time. People appreciate that. Now let's move on to the optional extras that really step your video quality up. The first thing I recommend is a halfway decent microphone like this. You can get them as a shotgun microphone where it's mounted to the top of your camera and aims at you. That's going to make kind of a cone of sound reception. So whatever you point the camera at, it's also going to be picking up sound in that direction and less from behind you and to the sides. This microphone's small, right close to where I'm talking, so it picks me up very well, but you also have to be careful not to touch it because it makes sounds like that. You're also tethered to the camera with however long your cable is, so you might have to buy an extension like this right here. This is the microphone and this is the extension. I've got it tied up in a knot like this because when it gets pulled, it won't just yank the thing out. This isn't good for the wire per se, but it's better for the recording. The microphone isn't so expensive that if the wire breaks, I'm completely ruined as far as the channel is concerned. I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but this has worked out for me for a long time. One thing an automotive repair channel really needs to do is get good lighting. I'm sure you've seen tons of videos where people are working on an engine or underneath the car and you just can't see anything and everything's grainy and you can barely make out what's being bolted here or there. Getting some softbox lighting really makes everything easier to see, and I wish I got it day one. It really changes how you can film things. Not only does it help you light up the engine bay so your camera can actually pick up what's going on inside, but it actually helps you see what's under the hood too. I've actually used them working on a car, not recording at all. They're that useful. Plus, I'm currently using them for a green screen. I just happen to have a green blanket and I just use 2 clamps to hold it to the ceiling. This is what the green screen looks like with those panel lights. This is what it looks like without the panel lights. Big difference. I've got lights on in the room. The lights are so bright that I have the camera settings set to adapt for that. So as soon as I turn those lights off, the room looks very dark. It's actually not dark at all. Here we go. See, there's lights. Wow, that is bright. If you're ever watching a channel that has a green screen and the person talking has glasses on, look for those square white boxes that appear in the lens reflecting off those lights. You can sometimes actually tell what their entire studio lighting setup is based on just that reflection. I completely forgot about tripods. I'm going to add that to the absolute must-have for automotive channels. If you're doing this alone and you don't have someone to hold the camera for you, you're working on a car, you're probably using both hands. I've actually recorded a video where I used one hand to hold the camera and one hand to use the tools, and that worked. It was just kind of a test to see if it would work. It worked, but I would really not recommend counting on that for your channel. If you're working on something like in the wheel well and you're recording down into it, if you're like, oh, I need to zoom up into this spring area and show this, one thing that I'd recommend is actually, if your camera on your phone is good enough, you can use the camera for your main shot and then take this out when you need it, go up and in and film what you need with the camera, and just you're done with that. Edit that out of your main camera, and then your camera's still set up so you're not using time to move the camera around, put it back in place, and it looks a little nicer when the shot before and after are always in the same spot. And the thing about tripods is they don't have to be expensive. I currently have 3 tripods in this house right now. 2 of them I bought used. I bought one for $5 at a yard sale, one for $3 at Goodwill, and I got one on Black Friday for $10. It was supposedly normally $40, but like even at the $10 it was so bad I just wanted to return it. I still have it. I was just like, at $10 I'm not going to go through the hassle of returning it. My best tripod is the cheapest tripod I got. There is some luck of the draw getting it used like that, but definitely go look around for a cheap one. But imagine all the tripods people have bought and decided they don't want to do photography anymore, or they want to upgrade and get even better. There's a lot of tripods out there that are ready to be bought at a really reasonable price. As far as an automotive repair channel is concerned, that's a really good starting point. You can obviously upgrade quite a bit of stuff after that, but it's a good starting point to get your YouTube channel off the ground. So again, must needs: camera, editing software, and a computer obviously, and tripod. Those 3, start with that, and you've got the bare minimum of what you need to get going. And then fill lights and a microphone are a good next step. Always watch both big and small channels to see what they're doing, and you'll be well on your way to 1,000 subscribers. Hopefully that makes building your automotive YouTube channel just a little bit easier, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.